Hello everyone, my name's Joel and I'm making another video for my 4FS class, which is the Plan Your Report part of Phase 2 for 4FS. So essentially this is planning for your analytical or scientific reports. So by now you've chosen your topic, you've read your two sources, so you've got one academic journal and one with a graph, and we've read that, and you in class or outside of class you've done your notes, your annotation, your summary writing, and answered the questionnaire about that. Okay, and you're preparing to write your report, which is going to be 850 to 1,250 words, so aim for 1,000 words, but that doesn't include the appendices, which there's two, and you'll all be doing your own topic. So for your report, the headings will include the introduction, the aim, the methodology, findings, discussion, conclusion, your references, the Appendix 1, which is your survey questions, and Appendix 2, which is your survey results. So with the planning and research are critical for the success of your report, and you need to demonstrate that you can plan this. So with level 3 and with level 4 writing tasks, we ask for a plan, a rough draft or a first draft, and then a final draft. Okay, so that shows that you can plan what you're going to write, then write it, and then after you get feedback you can then edit your work to improve it. So as part of your report you're going to need to establish a clear aim for your report, and we'll talk about that later. And then, so as I've mentioned, this is around week 5 now, so you should have been working on your research and note-taking skills, as well as your planning and formatting skills with the activities we've been doing in class. And you should be working on your survey to collect data about people's knowledge, behavior, attitudes about your topic. Right, so an important thing to get through for this plan is to establish the aim of your research report. Okay, so we've gone through this process of the topic, and you've chosen your topic, right? And hopefully while you've been doing your readings and research, and you have fine-tuned your topic so that it's a little bit more in-depth than when you started, and you've sort of focused it in more, and perhaps added to it, so that it can so you've got something very good. Alright, and so now you need to ask yourself, with your survey, which is your research instrument, what is the aim of that? What are you trying to do? What is the purpose of your research, right? And so what I want to do is have conversations with each of you and talk about the aim of your research. Okay, and so then once you've worked out your aim and we've come to some kind of agreement, I mean, you have a lot of autonomy. I'm going to let you go for it and come up with some ideas. I just want to try to help you to sort of refine it. But then after you've done that, you're going to make sure that your survey and your research is aligned to your aim. Okay, so in a lot of ways your aim will help you to focus your report, and you should always refer to it when you're thinking about writing. Does what I'm writing or what I'm doing further the aim of the report? Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to submit a plan as part of the assessment for this term. Okay, so the plan will be its own separate writing task. Alright, that's a bit different than probably before, where you've just done writing and handed in the plan with it. And I know that many of you cheat a little bit, and you'll write the thing and then do your plan. Okay, and okay, we sort of fudged around the corners and let you do it, but this time round I really want you to start with the plan. Okay, now your plan is you're going to create a Word document, some sort of template. It's up to you exactly how you do it. I suggest, either a table or just with headings, or just the headings, okay, and put in the stuff that you need. So you're going to include a draft of your introduction, alright, and I will discuss all of these in more detail later. You'll also have notes of your survey's findings, a trialed survey. So that means that you've written your survey, you've shown it to me, I've given you some feedback, you've gone and done your second draft of your survey, and then we've delivered it in class, and you've fixed it up a little bit after that. So that means it's not just the first draft of your survey, it's the survey that you've actually trialed in class, and therefore it's ready to go. Probably by the time this is finished, you'll have finished your survey, and that will help you with your findings. Okay, so you're doing this activity at the same time as you're getting your survey ready. So once you've finished delivering your survey, that's the third draft of it, you'll have your findings, and then using those findings you may create some graphs, tables or charts for your survey results. Some of those graphs and tables will go into your findings, the really interesting ones, but all of your findings will be part of your Appendix 2, which is the results of your survey. You're also going to start collecting your thoughts and your notes about comparing your findings with other research that you've been doing, so the ones that you've got for your readings, and perhaps you've found a similar survey. So all of that research that you've been doing. And lastly, you're going to include a reference list. Right, so your introduction. You're going to write a draft of your introduction. This will be longer than the usual introductions that you have written in the past. So you might have written a introductory paragraph, okay, but in this case it might be 2 to 4 paragraphs for this introduction, and that's because the introduction is sort of like a literature review. So it talks about your research and your readings, and you're supposed to demonstrate that you have done your research and you're familiar with your topic. The exact length of your introduction is up to you, right? Do what you feel like you have to do, but if you're around this mark, you're doing pretty good. And you should use in-text citations, okay? So you are referencing your work. So I want you to paraphrase and avoid plagiarizing other people's work by referencing. And just remember, it's a draft, so it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be your final draft. You can change it later. The aim, 1 to 3 sentences describing your aim. If you're having problems working that out, ask yourself, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to find out? What sort of data are you trying to collect? Okay, have a talk with me and we'll work it out. If there's a problem, or you've got some questions, we'll try to work out your aim together and use your aim to help you get focused with your report. Then you've got your notes of your findings, okay? So you can write this part as notes with bullet points or sentences or paragraphs or a mixture of all of those. It's up to you. Your notes should mention the major trends and interesting data that you found during your survey results. You don't want just lists of numbers. Okay, you want to just talk about what's interesting. And this will include a couple of graphs or charts that have been generated from the data from your survey. And basically your findings is going to end up being about 3 to 6 paragraphs long, including descriptions of your graphs and charts. But for now, you're just making notes and points, so it doesn't have to be that long, but just so you know that that's where you're going to end up. The discussion, so it's early days, so you don't have to worry about your discussion too much now, but if you should start to get an idea of where your readings and your survey results are sort of intermingling. So how do they compare to each other? What's the same? What's different? Were there any surprises? What did you learn about your topic? Was there anything new? So talk about the trends and that sort of stuff, and just this is just a very rough outline of what you're going to write about. Okay, so just do it. In the end, it's going to be 2 to 4 paragraphs. You can put bullet points, keywords, and phrases and points of interest in there. So your reference list, that's going to be a little bit difficult because I want you to do it in APA style. Alright, we've discussed this in class a bit, and I gave you that Al Purdue site to check out. There's also stuff on the TAFE library website about APA style. You've already got your 2 references that you used as part of your reading. That's your academic journal and the one with the graph. You've probably used more, especially if you've been doing your research. And actually, really, you'll probably find you're using around 10 sources. If you're not using 10, you need to ask yourself questions about whether you've done enough research, especially if you include any illustrations or other visual information that so have a look at that and basically write a reference list, okay, of everything that has helped you write your work. So your plan's going to be about 750 words. Now just remember, it's a very, very rough draft, so your writing will be big, and that means you can sort of whittle it down later and make it smaller and more concise. So you don't need to have perfect spelling or grammar, and you can add other notes or drafts for stuff such as your methodology and things like that that will go in later. If you want me to have a look at that, that's fine, and I would like you to submit this in week 6, alright, because after that we need to do the draft for the report, the final draft, and then start working on our presentation. So week 6 is what we want. Alright, so I hope you understand all of that, and this is getting down to the writing phase of the report, which will be a nice balance because doing the actual surveys will be a lot of speaking and listening. So you need to be working on this in your computer time, tutorial time. If you have any questions, come and talk to me and I'll try to help you out. Alright, so thanks for listening, and I will see you in class.